Hello, my name is Monica Liana, and this is Books and Beauty, where I talk about books while doing my makeup. This is going to be a real quick makeup look and review because I'm going to make this short. And also, I have nowhere else to go, so I don't really need to put on that much makeup. I'm just putting it on just to kind of look somewhat alive. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about the book Him by L.L. Ash. I looked online on YouTube and I didn't really see anybody review this book. I'm sure there is one, but I didn't see any, so I'm gonna do it. So if you have ever been curious about this book, I will let you know. So I'm gonna give you the quick synopsis about this book, and then I'll tell you kind of what I picked up, which is, I don't know. And this is why I was trying to look at reviews, because I wanted to see if anybody else picked this up, but nobody said anything about it. So I'm like, I'm gonna make it very obvious when you read this book. So this book is about a girl named Bay, which threw me off, by the way, because it was spelled B-A-Y, which is how I say and also spell Bay whenever I talk to my significant other. So it threw me off the whole entire time when I was reading it, because everybody was calling her Bay as if that was her significant other, and it was throwing me off. I mean, that's not a bad thing. It was just throwing me off. And then a guy named Blake, which is her best friend's dad. So the whole point of this book is they're going to college at this location. I forgot what state. So like they're from Vegas, but they go to this one state. I forgot what state it was that they're moving to go to college. She can't get into dorm for some reason, and she can't afford an apartment. So her friend Georgia, her best friend, has decided, well, we'll just go live with my dad. He'll be fine with that. So they went and moved in with the dad. Well, of course, they're both attracted to each other immediately. You know, her dad had Georgia at 16, so he's only like 34 years old. So like he's a young dad in comparison to, like, you know, other dads are usually like in their 50s or something like that. So he's a young dad, still looking good. And, you know, she notices, and of course he notices that she looks good too. So they're spending time together in the sense of like, she's in the house, she's cooking, she's cleaning, because she's not paying rent. So she's trying to make sure that her being there is not a burden. Well, Georgia ends up going towards a sorority, and she's kind of ends up becoming a bitch. And the reason is because she asked Bay to live with her and the dad. I mean, granted, she was helping Bay out, but she also was like, you know, it'll be fun, we'll live together, we're like sisters and everything like that. Well, while they're there, she starts blowing Bay off and starts trying to go to the sorority. And at first she doesn't even tell her that's what she's doing, and then she eventually tells her, and kind of just keeps blowing her off to like go hang out with the sorority people and go party. And Georgia doesn't even invite her. She's just like, oh, well, you're not into that anyway, so like it's cool, right? Which I'm like, even if that's not really her, that's your best friend, you would think like, hey, do you want to come? Least ask. But she's just assuming like, oh, you don't want to do it anyway, so you're fine, you're good with being at the house, which is like, well, thanks, friend. So what ends up happening is she one day over dinner just drops the bomb of like, oh, I pledged a sorority and I'm gonna go live at the sorority house. And they're both like, what? Like, you're not even gonna like ask or anything? She's just like, yeah, I'm packing up. Like, she packs up like right then and there and like moves to the sorority house, which is like, so you're leaving your best friend that you were supposed to like have this college experience with, because I guess that was the reason why her friend decided to go to this college, because Bay wanted to go to this college for her scholarship, and Georgia was like, yeah, I'll come with you. Like, I don't really care what college I go to. I'll go to the one you're going to so we can experience this together. So she leaves, and then also the dad's like, that's your best friend, and also I don't really know her, and you're just gonna leave her here? So she leaves them without a care in the world. And the dad ends up telling the girl, she's like, don't worry, or telling Bay, like, don't worry, his name is Blake, by the way, don't worry, you can still live here. Just because she's kind of being a shitty person doesn't mean I'm going to kick out. You're fine. Which she's like, thankfully, like, good, because she's like, I don't know what I was going to do if he kicked me out because I don't have any money. So, well, as you know, they kind of start to notice each other just a little bit. He starts to try to go on some dates because he's trying not to think about her. So he's like, I need to start going on some dates because I'm thinking about this 19-year-old girl and I shouldn't be thinking of her like that. So decides to go on some dates, which she helps. These dates are awful. Like, he goes on 2, they're both awful. And Bae also goes on a date, no chemistry. And then they kind of realize that, like, the reason there's no chemistry with these other people is because I want you. So she makes a move on him. He ends up being like, oh no, this is wrong. It gets a little awkward. She goes on another date with this other guy. And he comes to the conclusion of like, I don't want you going on dates with guys. I want you to date me. So they, in a way, start kind of dating. Like, they don't really define it. They're more or less like, well, let's have a little bit of fun. You're attracted to me, I'm attracted to you. We can have a little bit of fun. We live in the same place. If things come down to it, we can like kind of break up and it's fine. And they start to really have feelings for each other. And then as time goes on, they start to realize that they love each other, and then they have to go through the whole painful process of like kind of having to tell people on stuff like that, which people just around them already know. Like, they don't really tell anybody all that much. They just more or less, everybody just starts to get the hint and stuff like that. And I'm going to leave it there. But if you noticed, I don't know if you have, but this book awfully sounds like something else. Something like Birthday Girl. Like, I swear, while reading this book, I was thinking of that meme that was like, hey, can I copy your homework? And the friend is like, yeah, you can copy it, just switch things around so it's not that obvious. That's exactly how I felt about this damn book. And I'm gonna tell you why. One, the whole moving into the apartment and then the person leaves, so then you're obviously around the dad more. That's one, which I'm like, I don't feel like that's an extremely unique idea. I'm not saying that, but it's just like, that's one. Two, Blake owns a construction company. So did Pike. The fact that Blake really wants to fall in love, and he's never been in love, and he wants more children and wants to get married. So did Pike. The fact that the mother of his child, which her name was Tiffany in this, is an awful person and uses his child against him. So did Pike's baby mama. The mom is a stripper. The sister in Birthday Girl was a stripper. The fact that what else? Some stuff. Just like, it was very similar. The problem with this book though, so I give this book a 3. I did enjoy it for what it was. And yes, it's very similar to Birthday Girl. So like, and I love Birthday Girl. So I did enjoy it. The problem that I have with this book is like, it's like a watered down version. There is no actual conflict ever. There is no buildup either. So like in the Birthday Girl, it takes like half the book before they actually do something. Like, they try so hard to not give into each other's urges and basically act like their chemistry doesn't exist. It takes forever for them to finally kind of cave in. And then when they do cave in, they kind of have this whole thing of like, man, this is kind of like shitty in the sense of like, this is wrong. I'm going to hurt my son. I'm going to hurt what used to be my ex-boyfriend. People are going to look at us weird. Like, it's very much a inner turmoil that goes on with definitely Pike, but also I believe her name was Jordan. There's like this whole inner turmoil of like, I want to be with you, I'm very attractive, like, are we doing something wrong? The whole sneaking around, like kind of just acting like there is no chemistry when everybody around them is like, you got chemistry, we can see it. Versus in this book, they get to smushing pretty quick. There is no really any inner turmoil other than he keeps thinking that she's gonna move on. Like, that's his only inner turmoil. It's not even that she's young, it's just the fact of like, she's gonna eventually probably grow up and then realize like, I'm with this older dude, like I want to be with somebody younger. That's really all he's concerned about. He's not really concerned about all that much other people. He's not even concerned about Georgia. Like, even though, yeah, it takes them a while to like tell her, they're still, he's not really worried about it. He's kind of like, well, she'll just have to get over it, which I'm like, damn. I mean, I get it. Your child is an adult and you are also an adult, so it's kind of like at the end of the day, you can't let your child rule over you, but like, he doesn't seem concerned at all. And also, whenever anybody finds out or, you know, figure it out, nobody cares, nobody really makes a comment. And then if anybody does care, it's very swiftly swept over the rugs. Like, even the dad gets really upset. Like, he drives down to the apartment and hits Blake in the face. Yeah, Bay basically says that she loves him and that this isn't just some perv taking, you know, advantage of his daughter. And he's just like, okay, well, I guess you're gonna be my son-in-law. Like, there's no conflict in this book at all. And then the sex scenes, all I can say is the sex scenes was like it faded into black. And what I mean by that is that you knew sex was happening, but it happened in like two sentences. And it was just like, this is the weirdest smut taboo book I've ever experienced. I'm like, even stuff that's not taboo can get a lot more graphic than this book. This book basically was like, yeah, there's sex and that's over. And it's like, what? I was so confused. I kept thinking it was gonna get more graphic because like the first sex one was kind of like, I don't know, I swear it faded into black. And I was like, okay, maybe that's just that one. But no, that's pretty much what keeps happening. And it's so insta-lovey. A month goes by and they're already like, I love you, I want to marry you, I want to have all your babies, I'm going to give up being a photographer because I just want to be home and have your babies. Which I'm like, that's fine, you can be a stay-home mom. And she's kind of like thinking like, I'll do photography on the side, which I'm like, that's nice. But it's like, it's so weird how just much that like escalated with like no conflict, no reconsidering, everybody being completely cool with the situation, and that be that. So, do I think that this book was good? Yeah, this book was fine. It was definitely entertaining. I think I finished it within like 2 days. So, it was entertaining in that degree, but it was just such a weird, fast-paced love affair, no smut, very close to Birthday Girl that I would consider this to be a book. So let's just say you had a daughter. You had a young teen that wanted to read Birthday Girl because, you know, you have it on your shelf and you're like, no, you're not going to read Birthday Girl. What I can have you read is Him, because it's basically the same thing, but a lot softer. It's like very safe. Like, seriously, a young teenager could read this book and it would kind of just be like, okay. Like, it's not really anything, like, other than the fact that, yes, he is 30 something years old and she turns 20 and stuff like that, and that's the taboo thing. Other than that, I'm like, this is very innocent, like, taboo book, like, very innocent. And so close to Birthday Girl that I swear, I was like, I'm not trying to be mean to the author, but I was just like, I see where you got your shit from. Like, but you know, we imitate life, so I'm like, I get it. If I wrote a book, it probably would be similar to somebody's book, because it's like, even though you may not realize it, you are influenced by like stuff around you. So I feel like that's kind of what this was just like, she was just kind of influenced, or he, I'm not sure if Ella Ash is a girl or a boy. I'm gonna say a girl, but anyways. So I feel like that's what this was. So I do think it was fine. It's just more of it's a watered down version of Birthday Girl, and that is 100% what I'm gonna go with. And I hope nobody is mad at that statement. I hope that if the author ever sees this, which I don't think she will, but if she does, I'm not digging at you. I'm just giving you my opinion. It's a watered down version. That's it. That's all the makeup I'm doing. It's my day off. I'm pretty much gonna go walk the dogs, clean up my house, and then go swimming. So I don't need a lot of makeup. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this very quick review, and if you've read this, I would like to know whether or not you think the same thing, because I tried to look to see if anybody like made the same comments I did, and I didn't see it. So I'm like, I'm curious if I'm like the only one. But anyways, have a good day. Just